Thank you so much, Laura. Okay, we're now going to move into our final session of the day. Not much of a session, more just a bit of a wrap-up for myself and from Andrew. So how on earth to summarise today? I'm going to stick to today because we already did yesterday and there's almost too much to kind of dive into. So we started with Lucas with his creative interlude talking about the issues around discovery of relevant content using AI as a tool. And I think that's actually one of the core sort of ideas that have been flowing through today, this idea of what does the tool of AI, what does that look like? Moving on to Brendan, he was talking a lot about the power of information and the potential of information, particularly obviously referring to event listing in his perspective, but talking about this idea that the data is there. So how do we uncover what's inside? How do we utilise AI as a tool for the masses and masses and masses of data that all of us are able to access, see, know about, think about and create nowadays? Of course, then that takes us on to the issues with bias and selection, etc., which we got in later on. Also this idea from Sarah's talk, really powerful talk actually, about AI as a tool for sort of enablement of preserving Holocaust survivor stories. How can this tool be used not just as a discovery tool within the data, but preservation of data or preservation of stories and ideas and information, which is really a more interesting term for what data actually is. We then moved on to Chinooki came on stage and we had the panel all about this idea of hidden value. I spoke earlier on about this idea of the NHS data. You know, what actually is the value of any kind of data? Is the value in the analysis of it? Is the value in what the actual data is and how it's made up? Or is the value in the utilisation of that data for something else entirely? So really thinking about that concept of value. And I love Chinooki's question about, you know, the ocean is largely undiscovered. What data would we like to explore? And I'm not entirely sure I have an answer for that question yet. I've been pondering it, like what data would I like to really try and kind of get to grips with? I was thinking a lot of Brandon's comment about, you know, the archiving experts at Glasgow Uni, you know, the impact of events on surrounding areas. What an intriguing question. For me, is what is it that I want to see? Maybe is it how do we get to grips with knowledge or libraries? One data set I'm trying to get at the moment is the data set from all the park runs around the UK. I don't know if anyone here does park runs. I'm really interested to see if you're a prolific park run runner, do you end up actually improving your PBs on the track? But they won't give me the data, so hey-ho. But the point being is, what kind of data set would you like to get your hands on? What would you like to analyse? Really interesting. We then moved on to Ghislaine, obviously talking about body data space. Again, I was really interested in this idea of our digital twin, or what is it that we're creating, this other, shall we say, that's made up of our own data. What is it that we're using this for? Kind of tying in these ideas of what does productivity really mean as a society? What is progress? The clones and Never Let Me Go, that was for our own medical usage. We're trying to take their organs. What is it we're trying to do with the data we're creating about our bodies? Or actually, is it about taking control of what we should rightly own, our own data, our own bodily data? Some interesting questions there about implants. I'm personally not really a massive fan of implants, but I can understand why some people are interested in taking control of that ownership of what it is that they do. We next move on to Cesare. He was talking about, to summarise, I think, what he was talking about with the museums and being able to see the footfall. I was kind of thinking about it as AI giving a superpower to the institutions, you know, almost like seeing the unseen, allowing you to see and gather insights from stuff that you aren't able to sort of immediately do in your head. And I think that links back exactly to what Ghislaine was saying with the body, being able to see what's happening inside and take insight from it. Laura actually used the term in that final presentation, uncover the unknown. So again, it comes back to this idea of what is that tool? What is it that we're using it for? We had Karen with her incredible storytelling from the future. Again, these ideas of sort of the inevitability of tech. What is it that we can do right now to prevent things that we're thinking might happen in the future? Using the tool of looking back from the future to try and understand the now. Is that a good way of trying to visualize and understand our own responsibility? Looking at the role of the artist, is it about shocking people? Interesting that she had two different projects, one that put you in the shoes of the victim, shall we say, and also the shoes of the perpetrator, seeing both sides, very intriguing. I had the panel with Angus, Michael and Nicola, who came and joined Karen on stage. And I was thinking about, I don't know if anyone's watching that His Dark Materials, you know, the on Sunday night in the BBC. I think it's brilliant. But anyway, and they have that thing called scholastic sanctuary, this idea that, well, it's, you know, only sometimes allowed for, but academia is allowed to ask questions and look at certain things that no one else is. And of course, it made me think of Angus breaking the law in order to do his research. But also this idea of, you know, when should we use AI? You know, is it only for provocations, or, you know, are we okay with the idea of everyone being able to use it? Is democratization really the best way? Is it only scholastic sanctuary that should be allowed when we're exploring these new technologies? And, you know, who gets to build AI? Who gets to do this and why? Really interesting discussion around business models, governments, how the economy and society is organised, what's the motivations of the people that are building things, and really kind of getting back to that point of, if it's about the market determining what it is that we want, should we really trust what the market's already pushing us towards or not? I don't know. And I think that nicely ties into the very final session we had here, which was obviously with the 4 startups, Vishal, Ed, Roni and Laura, and really that question around, how can we balance cultural, social and environmental values with economic ones? Can we? And if so, how? But really, to summarise the whole conference, I sort of have 5 keywords that I've written down that I've been pondering, and those are responsibility, value, bias, questions, and empowerment. And really, the word empowerment is more about how do we empower more people to be able to have the experience that we've had at this conference, asking the questions, hearing from the horse's mouth what's going on, and spending a lot of time pondering, both individually, but also as a collective in the breaks, and so on and so forth, of which you're going to have very soon. Final note, if all of my summaries have made no sense to you at all, and you want to just re-watch all of the videos, all the videos of the talks are going to be up in the coming weeks. They're going to email you with the details, and they're also going to be announced on the #BeyondConf hashtag when they're released. So make sure you're signed up to newsletters and following on Twitter and all of those things, so that you can rewatch anything you might want to continue pondering on or that you might have missed. Okay, I'm going to finish up there. I'm going to introduce Andrew Chitty, who's going to come on and do some final closing words. But that's everything from me. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I've had an amazing time, and I really hope you guys have got as much from this conference as I have. So thank you very much.
Hi everyone, and honestly, don't worry, it is just a few final words which are mainly about thanks. So I've really enjoyed this, because unlike Beyond One, the great thing about having a crack team to deliver this kind of thing is that I've been able to sit at the back, largely absorb all the talks, the interludes, and really enjoy it, and it has been fantastic. So when we started off with Beyond, I think what we wanted to do, knowing that we were trying to support research collaborations between creative industries and the research community, is we needed to create some kind of space where we could come together once a year and kind of think about themes that are emerging across the sector, and just have a dialogue and get more of a sense of community as well around what we're trying to do in this kind of creative research space. So I hope it's worked for everybody else as well as it's worked for me in that regard. So I'm going to start by thanking the team at Creative Informatics in Edinburgh. It's been a joy to come to Edinburgh. It's been great to come to the Assembly Rooms. We wouldn't have done that if it hadn't been for Creative Informatics. And I think particularly to Chris and to Nicola, who I think over the last 2.5 days, for those of us who were there at the quiz, have displayed that for those of us who come from the creative industries, we now know we've got research partners who can work as expert interviewers, chat show hosts, game show compares, and stand-up comedians, and that's just the 2 of them. I'd also like to really thank the amazing team that I work with, who are known as, amongst our lot, as the creative economy team. So for Beyond, That's been particularly to thank Tara and Anna for all their work on the programme, which has been absolutely fantastic. Brought some remarkable people together. Some of you will know, some people I think that are new to all of us, but really important thinkers. I'd like to thank Lottie and Sam for all their work on the communications, but not just comms, it's so much more. Bringing together as a team, feeding in ideas, making sure that people know about what we're doing. Eliza for the showcase. Vuk for the website that's gone alongside Beyond, and where you will be able to find the content, and also, as we work out what Beyond 3 might be, we'll be feeding it out through that. And a new thing this year, which I think was, it got me really excited. I want to thank Zlatina for working to put together the poster exhibition, which was new, but again, I think it's a really important thing that we have a space where younger researchers can show what they're doing, not only to their academic peers, which is where they might be at the moment, but also so that businesses that come to Beyond can understand what's going on with researchers earlier in their careers. I'd like to say thanks very much to the assembly rooms and the tech team that have supported the event. It has been an amazing level of support. I think our team have found this such a smooth ride, and they wanted me to say thank you for going above and beyond, which is fortunately only Beyond's joke in this. And last but not least, it's the first time we've worked with her. I am absolutely sure it won't be the last. I want to really thank Gemma for adding life and energy to this, keeping us on track, on time, keeping everybody in order, and being such a wonderful presence. So thanks very much, Gemma, and thank you.